Hey everyone, welcome back to Linux Network. If you're new here, this is the channel where we break down Linux news in a simple way, so whether you've been using Linux for 10 years or you installed it for the first time last night, you're in the right place. Today we're talking about PopOS 2404 and its Cosmic desktop, because System76 has been an absolute terror lately. We're not talking about one update, we're talking about 5 updates, and they all landed in just the last few weeks. So if you've been putting off checking your updates, this is your sign to go do that right after this video. Quick refresher for anyone who's confused about the version numbers, because I get asked this a lot in the comments. Cosmic is the desktop environment, that's the thing you actually see and click around in. And PopOS is the operating system it lives on. Cosmic hit its first stable release version 1.0 back in December of last year. Since then, System76 changed how they do updates. Instead of waiting months for one giant release, they're now pushing out smaller updates every week or two. That's great news for us because it means bugs get fixed fast and new features show up constantly. So let's go through the 5 most recent ones, starting from the oldest and working our way to what just dropped a couple of days ago. This one is all about keeping an eye on your system. System76 introduced Cosmic Monitor, which is basically their own version of Task Manager, like Task Manager on Windows if you're coming from there. It shows you what's using your CPU, what's eating your RAM, all in a clean little app that actually matches the rest of the Cosmic design, instead of looking like it was bolted on from somewhere else. This is a big deal because PopOS has been relying on a borrowed GNOME tool for this for ages, and now they've got their own. Update 1.1 also cleaned up how the desktop itself behaves behind the scenes. Workspaces got smarter, you can now name them, so you're not just staring at Workspace 1, Workspace 2 and trying to remember which one has your browser open. And there were fixes to how windows snap into places when you're tiling them. Small stuff, but it's the kind of small stuff that makes the desktop feel like it was actually finished, not just functional. This landed just a week after 1.1, which honestly still surprises me every time I see how fast this team is moving. The headline feature here is support for AVIF images as wallpapers. If you don't know what AVIF is, don't worry, it's just a newer image format that looks great and takes up way less storage than a regular JPEG or PNG. So now if you download the wallpaper pack in that format, Cosmic will actually let you use it instead of telling you it's not supported. This update also fixed something that was genuinely annoying a lot of people, flickering on the launcher and workspaces if you're running an Intel graphics chip. If you're one of the folks in the comments saying your screen looked glitchy when switching workspaces, that fix is in this update. And on the file manager side, they improved how it handles unzipping archives, so you're less likely to run into a weird error halfway through extracting a folder. Alright, quick pause here because I want to say something. If you're finding this kind of breakdown useful, and honestly if you made it this far into the video, I'm guessing you are, do me a favor and hit subscribe and tap that bell icon too, so YouTube actually tells you when I post. I put these videos out pretty regularly and the bell is the only way to make sure you don't miss one. Also, I want to take a second to say thank you to the channel members. If you're one of the people supporting this channel through membership, seriously, thank you. It means a lot and it genuinely helps me keep putting out videos like this one covering what's happening in the Linux world. You're the reason I can keep doing this constantly, so thank you. Okay, back to the updates. This is probably the most exciting one on the list for a lot of people, because this is the update that introduced the frosted glass effect. If you've used a Mac or even a modern version of Windows, you know that look where Windows has a slightly blurred, translucent background instead of just being solid. That effect finally made its way to Cosmic in this release. It's purely visual, it doesn't change how anything works under the hood, but it makes the whole desktop feel a lot more polished and modern. This was one of the most requested features since Cosmic launched, so seeing it actually show up is a nice moment for the project. Only about a week after Frosted Glass, System76 dropped version 1.4, and this one is a mixed bag of quality of life stuff. First, there is a brand new default sound theme. Before this, PopOS was still using sounds borrowed from an old theme package that isn't even maintained anymore. So now, it's got its own proper sound theme built for Cosmic specifically. Next, if you use the scale display, meaning your screen resolution is set to something other than 100%, you'll notice your cursor is way more accurate when you move it right up against the edge of the screen. That sounds tiny, but if you've ever tried to click something right in the corner of your screen and your cursor just wouldn't quite get there, you know how frustrating that is. That's fixed now. This update also improved how Cosmic talks to NetworkManager, which is the underlying tool that handles your Wi-Fi and network connections on Linux. And going back to that monitor app I mentioned in update 1, it got some upgrades too. You can now force quit an application that's frozen directly from monitor, which is honestly something that should have been there from day one, and you can also switch between different types of graphs for your CPU and GPU usage. This is the newest one. It literally came out just a couple of days ago, so if you haven't updated in the last week, this is probably the one you're missing. The standout feature here is that Cosmic now reads something called EXIF orientation data from your photos. In plain English, if you've ever set a photo as your wallpaper and it showed up sideways or upside down even though it looked fine everywhere else, that was because the photo was actually stored sideways, and your phone or camera just knew to display it correctly. Now, Cosmic knows how to read that information too, so your wallpapers will always show up the right way around without you having to manually rotate anything. This update also fixed an issue with screen brightness control hanging or freezing up, which was mostly affecting laptops. And if you use an external monitor and your laptop goes to sleep, that monitor should now reconnect and respond faster when you wake it up, instead of sitting there blank for a few seconds while everything catches up. So that's the rundown. 5 updates, all inside about a 5-week window, going from a brand new system monitor app all the way to the frosted glass look everybody's been asking for, and finishing with something as simple but genuinely useful as your wallpapers finally showing up the right way around. If you ask me, this is exactly the kind of pace you want to see from a young desktop environment. They're not just sitting on version 1.0 and calling it done, they're actually listening to what the community is asking for and shipping it fast. If you want to grab all of these updates, just open your Cosmic store, or if you're more comfortable in the terminal, a simple system update command will pull everything down for you. Either way works, and either way you'll be caught up in a couple of minutes. Let me know down in the comments which of these 5 updates you're most excited about. Personally, I think the frosted glass one is going to get the most attention, but that brightness fix is going to make a lot of laptop users very happy too. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.